Have you ever felt trapped in your own home, where the people who should love you most are the ones making you feel worthless? Adaeze was once full of life, laughter, and confidence. Before she got married, she was slim and athletic, often the one people envied for her beauty and grace. But after 3 children, things changed. Her body changed. She wasn't the lean, energetic Adaeze that everyone knew. She was now a tired mother, trying her best to take care of her family. Adaeze's husband, Chijioke, had once been the love of her life. They met in the university, where he adored everything about her. But now, years into their marriage, Chijioke had turned into someone Adaeze hardly recognized. He constantly complained about her weight, comparing her to other women and making her feel like she was never good enough. Don't you see other women? Look at them. They have kids, but they still look good, Chijioke would say to Adaeze. Now, you look so big that I can't even recognize you anymore. You are not the beautiful Adaeze I married. I can't even figure out who I am looking at right now, he will always say with disappointment in his eyes. Adaeze cried and responded to Chijioke, "My darling husband, I am sorry about my weight. You know I had 3 kids for you, and pregnancy can sometimes make us add so much weight. Just last month, I just had a baby, our 3rd child, and I'm still trying to recover from postpartum weight. Please, my husband, give me some time. I promise I will lose weight." But Chijioke would never listen to that. Instead, he would always body shame Adaeze. One day, Adaeze made lunch and was just about to eat. Immediately she tried to lift the spoon into her mouth. Chijioke said, "So you still want to eat? After all this weight that you have gained, so you still actually want to eat?" Adaeze would just lose her appetite instantly, pushing the food away, even though she was hungry. Chijioke stopped eating with her, and every meal turned into a lonely, anxious time for Adaeze. The worst part was that Chijioke didn't just stop at comparing Adaeze to strangers. He would bring his sisters into the conversation. "Look at my sisters. They've had kids, but they still look slim and beautiful. Why can't you be like them?" But the most painful moments were when he compared her to her own mother. Adaeze's mother, Ngozi, was a vibrant, elegant woman in her 50s who loved to dress up and take care of herself. Mama Ngozi came to help with the new baby. Chijioke took every chance to put Adaeze down. "Your mother looks younger than you. Look at her, so full of life. Who will believe she gave birth to you? Because now you look older than your mother, instead of the other way around." And these words really hurt Adaeze deeply. One day, as they all walked together to the market, Chijioke said loudly, "People will think your mom is the daughter and you are the mother." Mama Ngozi laughed along, finding it funny, but Adaeze's heart sank. She had hoped her mother would defend her, but instead, her laughter only fueled Chijioke's taunts. As days turned into weeks, things got worse. Chijioke's insults grew sharper. He even mocked Adaeze in front of his friends, saying, "She's too lazy to even push a baby out. That's why she had 2 surgeries. She's lazy and fat, so how can she ever exercise and lose weight?" Adaeze's heart was broken. She didn't know who to turn to. She couldn't confide in her mother because she only made things worse. One day, Adaeze mustered the courage to tell her mother how hurt she felt. Expecting sympathy, she said to her, "Mama, see the way Chijioke is always body shaming me and mocking me. You're a woman like me. You should be able to tell Chijioke that I didn't just watch myself get this fat. I was pregnant, and pregnancy can make someone add weight. But instead of Mama Ngozi to sympathize and understand with her daughter, she went straight to Chijioke and told him everything Adaeze had said. Feeling utterly betrayed, Adaeze decided to report both her mother and Chijioke to her mother-in-law. Mama Nkechi was Chijioke's mother, and Adaeze was hoping for a voice of reason. Mama Nkechi scolded Chijioke, but it only backfired. Now, Chijioke was furious with Adaeze, claiming she disrespected him by involving his mother in their personal matters. Tension in the house grew unbearable. Mama Ngozi and Mama Nkechi were like oil and water. And then Mama Nkechi visited the house, but they didn't miss at all. They would glare at each other, avoid talking, and the atmosphere was tense and hostile. Adaeze found herself caught in the middle, constantly trying to keep the peace between the two women while dealing with Chijioke's cold shoulder. Whenever Adaeze greeted her mother-in-law, Mama Nkechi would ignore her, turning her head away. And if her mother found out Adaeze greeted her, Mama Ngozi would get upset, accusing Adaeze of taking sides. It felt like every move Adaeze made was wrong. No matter what she did, she couldn't please anyone. Chijioke, her darling husband who was supposed to be there for her, kept on insulting and mocking her at the slightest opportunity. Adaeze felt trapped. She was living in a house full of people, yet she had never felt so alone. The silence from Chijioke, her mother, and mother-in-law was deafening. No one spoke to her, and every day she felt her sanity slipping away. She would sit in her room, holding her baby close, tears streaming down her face, and she tried to figure out what to do. One day, Adaeze couldn't take it anymore. She went to Chijioke and pleaded with him to ask both mothers to leave. She needed peace in her home. But instead of listening, Chijioke went and reported her to the both women. Now, Mama Ngozi and Mama Nkechi were even angrier. They stopped talking to Adaeze completely, treating her like she was invisible. It was as if the walls were closing on her. Adaeze felt suffocated and desperate. She couldn't remember the last time she felt happy or at peace in her own home. She had become a stranger to her own family, and it was tearing her apart. Finally, Adaeze decided to take matters into her own hands. She packed a small bag and left the house with her 3 children. She went straight to stay with her close friend Amaka, who lived on the other side of the town. Amaka welcomed her with open arms, listening to her pain and offering the comfort Adaeze so desperately needed. At Amaka's house, Adaeze had time to think and reflect on her situation. She realized she had been putting everyone else's happiness above her own for far too long. She needed to take control of her life, not just for her sake, but for the sake of her children. Adaeze decided it was time to seek professional help. She reached out to a therapist who specialized in family and marital counseling. During the sessions, Adaeze learned that she had been carrying the weight of everyone's expectation, guilt, and pain on her shoulders. She needed to reclaim her self-worth and prioritize her mental health. The therapist encouraged Adaeze to set boundaries and communicate her needs clearly. Adaeze knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to make a change. She started attending support groups for women who were going through similar challenges, and also women who were going through postpartum depression. She found strength in their stories, and slowly she began to build her confidence. After weeks of therapy and self-reflection, Adeze returned home, but this time she was different. She was no longer willing to tolerate disrespect or let anyone make her feel small. She sat down with Chijioke and told him firmly, "I am your wife, the mother of your children, and I deserve respect. I won't allow you or anyone else to shame me for my body. If we are to stay together, then things must change." Chijioke was taken aback by Adeze's newfound strength. He hadn't realized how deeply his words had hurt her. Seeing how determined she was, he agreed to attend couples therapy with her. Slowly, they began to work through their issues, learning how to communicate without tearing each other down. Adeze also spoke to her mother and mother-in-law separately, setting boundaries and making it clear that she would not tolerate being disrespected in her own home. She asked them to leave for a while so she and Chijioke could focus on rebuilding their marriage. Though they were reluctant at first, both mothers eventually agreed, realizing that their constant fighting was making things worse. With her home finally peaceful, Adeze started taking better care of herself. She joined a fitness group with other mothers in the neighborhood, not to please anyone else, but to feel good about herself again. She rediscovered her love for cooking and began eating healthier. But most importantly, she learned to love herself at every stage. Adeze's journey wasn't easy, and there were still days when she struggled. But with the support of her therapists, friends and Chijioke, who was slowly becoming the loving husband she remembered, Adeze found her way back to happiness. And that is how Adeze's story ended, in happiness. The story of Adeze teaches us the importance of self-worth and setting boundaries. No one should have to endure disrespect or feel ashamed of who they are. It's crucial to stand up for yourself, even when it's difficult, and to seek help when you need it. Family members should uplift and support each other, not tear each other down. Remember, your worth is not defined by how others see you, but by how you see yourself. So, learn to say no when it is necessary. Learn to stand up for yourself when you are not comfortable with some things being said to you. And learn to build self-confidence and love yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this story. My name is Onyi of Onyi Stories and Folktales. I hope you were entertained and inspired by this story. And please, if you haven't subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button. Be a part of my growth. I will really appreciate that. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking with me and for supporting me. I really appreciate your support. I do not take it for granted. See you in my next video. Bye-bye. In a small town called Iba, Amina was busy arranging clothes in her boutique shop one evening. She had been feeling sad because business was not going well, and she needed money to buy new clothes for her shop. Suddenly, the door to her boutique opened, and her two close friends, Sade and Bola, walked in, looking very fancy in their designer clothes. They seemed upset, and Amina knew they were here to complain about her distancing herself from them. Sade and Bola had both married wealthy men about 2 years ago. Sade's husband worked with the government, while Bola's husband worked at a big firm in Abuja. Amina, on the other hand, was still single, although she was in a serious relationship and had a promise ring on her finger for years. The one everybody terms as Lord of the Rings, which literally means a woman putting on an engagement ring for years without being married to the suitor. Hey babes, this one you guys remembered me today. I hope I'm safe, oh, Amina said with a big smile. Of course you are not safe. If we didn't come to you, Amina, you will never visit us, Shade said playfully. No mind her. After now, she will say it's because we are married, Bola added. Amina knew they were right but didn't want to argue. She said, please, my friends, don't be angry. I was just busy. Oh yeah, let's go into my office so we can gist and catch up very well. I've really missed you guys a lot. As they walked into Amina's small office, Bola looked around and asked, Amina, what's wrong with your boutique? It looks very scanty, oh. Is everything all right? Your boutique used to be filled with so many designer clothing, shoes, and bags. I was even hoping I'll be able to shop for myself by the time I get here today. But your shop looks very scanty. Amina sighed deeply. Bola was always very inquisitive. Everything is fine. My goods are still on the way. Amina lied. But she knew Bola did not believe her. You guys are really glowing, oh. I see marriage is really good on you, huh? Amina joked, trying to change the topic. But she noticed their expressions changed slightly and she knew something was not right. Please, finish up the rest, Mary, Amina said to her assistant. So, my dear friends, what can I offer you girls? Amina asked when they got to her office. Amina, I'm not here for drinks. Please sit down. I have something to discuss with you, Shade said quietly, looking genuinely unhappy. Amina could see that Shade was moody. Okay, what about you, Bola? She asked. Just get me water, Bola replied. Amina opened her fridge and gave Bola a bottle of water. She noticed both of them had gloomy expressions on their faces. Ladies, what's the problem? Did anyone die? Amina asked, worried. Shade sighed deeply. Amina, you will not understand. All is not well at all. Same with me. I also have something bothering me, Bola added, looking up from her phone. Amina decided to listen to them. So who is going first? I'm all ears. Talk to me, my friends. Amina, my marriage is in trouble and I really need your help, Shade said calmly after a moment of silence. Is your husband cheating on you? Amina asked. Because that was a common problem in marriages, but Shade shook her head. Then what's the problem? Amina asked, raising her eyebrows. Shade exhaled deeply, trying to fight back her tears. My husband has changed all of a sudden and has withdrawn from me emotionally. Could it be because I haven't been able to give him a child? Right now, we are just living like roommates. He doesn't even speak to me at all. That's so strange. I'm really sorry about that. But I don't see how I can help you here, Amina said, narrowing her eyes in confusion. And then Shade said, wiping tears from her face, she said, Amina, I want you to befriend my husband. Eh? You said what? Amina widened in shock. She looked at Shade, who seemed very serious. Amina, I know it sounds crazy, but I need you to befriend my husband, Shade repeated, looking desperate. Amina, just listen to her. This is important too, Bola added. Her voice was serious. Amina sat down, trying to process what Shade had just said. Shade, are you really serious about this? Yes, Amina. My husband trusts you. He knows that you are my close friend. If you become his friend, maybe he will open up and tell you what's bothering him, Shade explained. But why me? Why not someone else? Amina asked, still confused. Because you are the only one I trust completely. And you are like a sister to me. And I know you will not betray me, Shade said. Her eyes were pleading. Amina looked at Bola, who nodded in agreement. Amina, please help her. You are her last hope. Amina sighed. All right. I will try, but this is really risky. What if he finds out our plan? We will be very careful. Just be his friend and see what happens, Shade said, looking relieved. Amina and her friends spent the next hours discussing the plan. They came up with a strategy to make Amina's friendship with Shade's husband, Mr. Tunde, seem natural. I will invite you to a party at my house this weekend. You can start talking to him from there, Shade suggested. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I just hope this works, so Amina agreed. After the plan was set, Shade and Bola left the boutique, leaving Amina alone with her thoughts. She felt a mix of emotions, nervousness, excitement, and fear of what might happen. She said to herself, are you sure Shade knows what she's doing? This Tunde of a guy is a very wealthy and rich man. Oh. How can Shade tell me to befriend her husband? Anyway, I will befriend him, but whatever happens after, Shade should not blame me. Oh. I was on my own, Jeje, in my boutique, and Shade brought herself to me. Okay, let's see how this goes. This sounds like a good plan, she said. The weekend came quickly and Amina dressed up for the party at Shade's house. She wore a beautiful dress and tried to look as confident as possible. She arrived at the party and was greeted warmly by Shade. Amina, you look stunning. Come in. Tunde is in the living room, Shade said, leading her inside. Amina walked into the living room and saw Tunde talking to some guests. She took a deep breath and approached him. Hello, Tunde. Long time no see, Amina said with a big smile. Tunde looked surprised but smiled back. Amina, it's been a while. How have you been? I've been good. Just busy with my boutique. How about you? Amina asked. I'm fine. Just work as usual, Tunde said, looking a bit distracted. Amina could sense that something was bothering him. She decided to keep the conversation light and friendly. Over the next few weeks, Amina and Tunde started talking more often. They would chat at parties and Amina would occasionally visit Shade's house. One day, Tunde invited Amina for lunch. And he said to her, Amina, I really enjoy talking to you. You are a good friend. Amina smiled, feeling happy that their plan was working. Thank you, Tunde. I enjoy our conversations too. I know you are my husband's friend, though, but I just like you and I love to have conversations with you. As they talked, Amina noticed that Tunde seemed more relaxed and open. One evening, Amina received a call from Tunde. Amina, can we meet? I need to talk to you about something important, he said in a serious tone. Amina agreed. She went to meet Tunde at a hotel and they sat down to talk. Tunde, what's wrong? You sound so upset, Amina asked gently. Tunde sighed deeply. Amina, I don't know how to say this, but I'm losing myself. I think I'm in love with you, and I really want us to be closer than this. Amina listened carefully, feeling sympathetic. Then Amina said, but Tunde, you are my friend's husband. Shade is my friend. How can you say you are in love with me? It's not like I don't like you. Oh. I actually like you. But because you are my friend's husband, I don't know how to respond to this your request. And Tunde said, Amina, Shade doesn't need to know anything that is going on between the both of us. Yes, we can have intimacies and all, but Shade doesn't need to know, okay? I really like you, Amina. And Amina said, okay, no problem. I know, but it's gonna be hard, but I will succumb to your request. Tunde and Amina started a relationship from that day without Shade being aware of what was going on. One day, Shade called Amina and said, Amina, my friend, what is happening with our plan? Did Tunde tell you I did anything to him? Did Tunde tell you what my offense was? Remember I made you to befriend my husband just to be able to get information about what is going on in my marriage from him. So how is it going, my friend? And Amina responded, Shade, well, he hasn't said anything to me, but don't worry, everything will be all right. From what we've been doing so far, I'm very sure he will open up to me very soon. Shade, trusting her friend, said, oh, thank you, Amina. I know I can always count on you. Amina and Tunde's relationship continued to grow. Secretly, they met in different hotels, having intimacies all the time, and Shade and Bola were not aware at all. One day, Amina went to the hospital because she was feeling very sick. After the whole test, Amina discovered that she was pregnant. Pregnant? For who? For Tunde, of course. So, Amina informed Tunde, Tunde, I think I'm pregnant too. What are we going to do? What will I tell my friend Shade? And Tunde responded, Amina, you don't need to tell Shade anything. You are keeping that baby. Amina said, Tunde, what are we going to do? How will Shade react if she finds out that I'm pregnant for you? My friend's husband. And Tunde said, she can react whichever way she likes. Ever since I married Shade, she hasn't gotten pregnant. So there's no way I'm going to let you not keep that baby. Tunde responded to Amina. And Amina thought to herself, well, this is an opportunity to also be a rich man's wife. Yes, Shade shouldn't be the only one to enjoy all the wealth Tunde has. Well, this is my chance. I don't want to be Lord of the Rings anymore. I also want to be somebody's wife. Not just anybody's wife, but a rich man's wife. So Shade can do whatever she likes. After all, she caused all this. So, the next day, Shade was in her house and Amina came in with her luggages. Shade was surprised. Amina, my friend, this one you brought your luggages to my house. What is going on, did you miss your way? And Amina responded, well, I didn't miss my way. I just packed my things to my husband's house. Shade was shocked. What do you mean your husband's house? Are you dreaming? Are you seeing double? Or you no longer think straight? What do you mean by your luggages to your husband's house? Amina, look very well, this is Shade's house, This is my husband's house. So I'm sure you are mistaken. Or did you smoke or drink or something? And Amina responded, I know exactly what I am saying, Shade. For your information, I am pregnant for Tunde. So, for that reason, this is my house now. I have brought my luggages to stay in the house. Shade was heartbroken, was shocked. She went upstairs to meet Tunde. Tunde, come downstairs and hear what Amina is saying. What does she mean by she's pregnant for you and she's bringing her luggages to the house as your wife? And Tunde responded to Shade, well, it's true, my dear wife. I'm sorry. Somehow, while I and Amina were always having meetings, we went down the line and she got pregnant. Well, this will be her house from today because she's having my baby. A baby you haven't been able to give me in a long time. Shade was so heartbroken. She called Bola to explain everything to her. Bola came to the house. They tried to chase Amina out, but Tunde was very firm about what he said. And Amina wasn't even willing to go either. I'm not going anywhere. This is my husband's house. After all, I was in my boutique on my own when you came with Bola to tell me to befriend your husband. Now, this is the outcome. What do you want me to do? Are you the only person that deserves a rich husband? Well, Shade, I'm sorry it happened this way, but this is my house now. My dear viewers, do you want to know how the whole story later played out? Find out in the part 2 of this intriguing story. And please, this is me saying, please kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. It's a way of being a part of my growth. It's a way of helping me grow. So please click on that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. So when I post more interesting stories, and of course the part 2 of this story, you will get to see it. Thank you so much. I do not take your time for granted. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. My name is Onyi of Onyi Stories and Folktales. Bye-bye. Daniel, a 24-year-old man. He was in a serious relationship with his girlfriend Chioma, who was 20 years old. Chioma was beautiful, kind, and innocent, and Daniel loved her deeply. They have been dating for 2 years and everything seemed perfect at first. But there was one dark secret that Daniel was hiding from Chioma. A secret that had started a few weeks after they began dating. He was having an affair with her mother, Mrs. Ngozi, a 40-year-old woman who still looked young and attractive. Chioma was her only child, and although she had introduced Daniel as just a friend, their relationship had grown deeper. It all started one evening at Chioma's house, and now, 17 months later, Daniel found himself trapped between his love for Chioma and his desire for her mother. Daniel still remembered that day clearly. He had gone to visit Chioma, but when he arrived, she wasn't home. Her mother, Mrs. Ngozi, invited him to sit and wait for Chioma to return. After a while, Mrs. Ngozi started asking Daniel if he was truly just a friend to her daughter, or if there was more between them. Daniel, not wanting to reveal the truth, lied and said they were just friends. The conversation was light at first, but it soon became flirtatious. Mrs. Ngozi laughed at his jokes, complimented his looks, and told him how mature he seemed for his age. Eventually, after 30 minutes of waiting, she suggested that he comes back later since Chioma might delay. But before he left, she asked for his contact number. That's how it all began. Mrs. Ngozi started sending Daniel playful, silly messages. At first, Daniel thought it was just harmless. After all, she was Chioma's mother, and he never thought anything could happen between them. But soon, the chats turned into something else. One evening, when Chioma was away at school, Mrs. Ngozi invited Daniel over to her house. Chioma was far away, so there was no risk of her finding out. That night, everything changed. They ended up in bed together, and from that moment on, Daniel found himself entangled in a sexual affair with Chioma's mother. At first, Daniel felt guilty about sleeping with Mrs. Ngozi. She was his girlfriend's mother after all. But at the same time, he couldn't deny the attraction he felt towards Mrs. Ngozi. Mrs. Ngozi was experienced and confident in ways that Chioma wasn't. She made Daniel feel things that he had never felt before. Chioma, on the other hand, was young and naive. She was just happy that her mother seemed to like Daniel, not knowing that they were hiding something so big from her. As time went on, Daniel found it harder and harder to enjoy his relationship with Chioma. Whenever they were together, he couldn't stop thinking about her mother. Sex with Chioma didn't feel exciting anymore. It was her mother, Mrs. Ngozi, who occupied his mind. Even when Daniel tried to stop the affair, he couldn't. The desire he felt for Mrs. Ngozi was too strong. And although Mrs. Ngozi initially didn't know Daniel was dating her daughter, when she found out, she was already too deep into the affair to stop. She begged Daniel to keep it a secret, saying that she didn't want to hurt Chioma, her only child. Everything changed a few days ago. Mrs. Ngozi had called Daniel, sounding more serious than usual. She told him that they needed to stop seeing each other because she was afraid that Chioma would find out about their affair. She said she couldn't bear to lose her daughter. If Chioma ever discovered what was going on, she would never forgive her. Daniel tried to calm her down, assuring her that Chioma would never find out. He promised that they would be more careful. But Mrs. Ngozi wasn't convinced. She was terrified of losing her daughter. And no matter what Daniel said, she insisted that they end their secret relationship. For the first time in months, Daniel felt truly conflicted. He loved Chioma, but his feelings for her mother were different. Mrs. Ngozi made him feel things he had never felt before. She was exciting, experienced, and irresistible. But at the same time, Daniel knew that what they were doing was wrong. If Chioma found out, it would break her heart. Daniel spent the next few days thinking about what to do. He knew that continuing the affair was dangerous, but he didn't know how to stop. He had tried before, but every time he saw Mrs. Ngozi, the attraction between them pulled him back in. He also didn't know what to say to Mrs. Ngozi. She had made it clear that she didn't want to end things, but then she just had to because of her daughter. But Daniel didn't want to lose the connection they had. He wondered if there was a way to keep their affair going without Chioma ever finding out. But deep down, Daniel knew the truth. He couldn't keep living like this. He was playing with fire, and sooner or later, everything would fall apart. One day, as Daniel was sitting alone in his apartment, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Chioma. "Can we talk?" Daniel's heart raced. He didn't know if Chioma had found out about the affair or if she had just wanted to have a normal conversation. His mind was flooded with fear and guilt. When Chioma arrived at his apartment, she looked upset. Daniel tried to act calm, but he couldn't shake the feeling that she knew something. Chioma sat down and looked at him, her eyes filled with concern. "Daniel, I've been thinking," she began. "I love you, but I feel like something is wrong. You don't seem as interested in me as you used to be. Are you hiding something from me?" Daniel's heart sank. He knew this was the moment of truth. He could either come clean and tell Chioma everything, or he could lie and hope that the affair with her mother would stay hidden. But as Daniel looked into Chioma's eyes, he realized he couldn't keep lying to her. He loved her, and if he wanted any chance of saving their relationship, he needed to be honest. Taking a deep breath, Daniel confessed everything. He told Chioma about the affair with her mother and how it had started almost 17 months ago. He explained how he had been caught between his love for her and his desire for her mother, and how he had tried to stop the affair but failed. Chioma was devastated. Tears filled her eyes as she listened to Daniel's confession. She couldn't believe that the two people she loved most had betrayed her in such a terrible way. Without saying a word, Chioma stood up and left Daniel's apartment. Daniel tried to call her, but she didn't answer. He knew that he had hurt her deeply, and he didn't know if she would ever forgive him. When Chioma got home, she was very angry with her mother, and she said to her, "You are the worst mother ever. What kind of a mother are you? Sleeping with my boyfriend? Of all the men, I am so disappointed in you, mother. Did I just call you mother? You don't even deserve to be called a mother." Mrs. Ngozi was begging, with tears in her eyes. "I am so sorry, my daughter. I never knew you guys were dating. At the time I realized I was already deep into the relationship. But with time, I couldn't go on with it because I couldn't bear the fact that I and you were sleeping with the same man." But Chioma wasn't having it. She wasn't ready to listen to whatever her mother was saying. She took her bag and left for her uncle's house. Days turned into weeks and Daniel didn't hear from Chioma. He also didn't hear from Mrs. Ngozi. It seemed like both of them had cut him out of their lives. Daniel realized that he had made a huge mistake. He had let his desires get the best of him, and he had lost the woman he truly loved. He also knew that Mrs. Ngozi had lost her daughter because of their affair. If Daniel had to fix things, he knew there was only one solution. He had to let both Chioma and her mother go. He needed to give them space and time to heal. He had broken their trust, and there was no easy way to repair the damage. Daniel decided to leave the city and move to a different city. He needed to start afresh and focus on becoming a better person. He knew that he couldn't change the past, but he could learn from his mistakes and make sure he never hurts anyone like that again. Mrs. Ngozi, on the other hand, continued to beg Chioma for her forgiveness. Chioma forgave her mother, but the love and trust she had for her mother was never the same again. Mrs. Ngozi learnt her lessons, and she learnt it the hard way. The moral of this story is simple. Secrets and lies will always come to light. No matter how hard you try to hide the truth, it will eventually be revealed. Daniel's affair with Chioma's mother not only hurt Chioma, but it also destroyed the relationship between mother and daughter. When you love someone, you must be honest and loyal. Betraying someone's trust can have lasting consequences, and sometimes the damage cannot be undone. It's important to think about the impact of your actions before making decisions that can hurt the people you care about. Thank you so much for watching my story. I hope you learned a thing or two. My name is Onyi of Onyi Stories and Folktales, and please, if you haven't subscribed, kindly click on that subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you. I do not take your support for granted. See you in my next video. Bye bye.